Well, this is ZTN News on the go, and we are broadcasting to you live from the Monomtapa building in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, where it is that we witnessed the acting president, retired KCD Mohadi, of course, handing over some of the donations to the government of Mozambique. This after devastating floods have displaced over 723,000 Mozambicans and the loss of about 124 lives to date. And so this has been the initiative that is coming to the fore by Zimbabwe through its Zim-Aid initiative. Over 300 metric tons of grain have been donated by Zimbabwe, and we've also seen the coming in of the private sector to try and bridge the gap that's been created owing to the devastating floods and the humanitarian crisis that is currently affecting hundreds of thousands of Mozambicans. Now, we will be just shortly getting into a conversation with Mr. Nkomo, who is the Chief Director responsible for civil protection here in Zimbabwe. It's against this backdrop that we have seen the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works stepping to the fore as part of the Cabinet Committee responsible for humanitarian crisis alleviation. And now I get into conversation with Mr. Nkomo, the Chief Director responsible for civil protection in the Ministry of Local Government. Sir, thank you for speaking to ZTN Prime. May you take us through the intervention that the government of Zimbabwe has brought to the fore, as well as the resource mobilization that was witnessed here today?
Thank you very much. I am happy to make all the people know that we are members of the SADC region, and we are also members of the SADC Humanitarian Operations Center, which is in Nacala, Mozambique. And what we are doing under Zim-Aid is part of the disaster risk management that we also do at domestic level. You know, at domestic level, when we are in the country, we look at some of the devastating effects in hotspot areas. We have mapped our hotspot areas in Zimbabwe, and this is where His Excellency said, let's send relief to those who are affected, 50 metric tons, and these will be targeted. We will not distribute them evenly for our districts in any province. Where we have problem areas, that's where we deploy the maize. And I'm also happy that finance has also given us the second tranche of money that we should be able to use when any eventuality comes. So again, that's a critical success factor. When you have your maize for relief, when you have your funds for making our people mobile on the in the subnational level, I think that's what we want. And for this event, where we have seen the acting honorable president commissioning the 10 by 30 ton lorries going to Mozambique with grain, and 5 tons from our private sector, I think it's a good gesture, and it makes solidarity practical, not where we only talk about it in a rhetoric way. So I think because if you look at the number of people who were affected in Mozambique, once we are through with all the CD forms which clears the maize at the border, the lorries must go any time from now and be there in Mozambique. We are taking them to Beira, and from Beira they will go to Maputo by ship, because Maputo is already cut off, and I think that will assist a lot of people who are in distress in Mozambique.
A noble initiative, I must say. Now, let's bring it here home and speak about some of the flood victims that we've got in Zimbabwe. Yesterday, the ZTN News team was at Epworth High School, where over 46 families are accommodated there, owing to the floods that hit Epworth during the course of the weekend. May you speak to some of the interventions that are in place for such affected here in Zimbabwe?
Yes, we are aware of the problems in Epworth. Some are from Jacha and Duri rivers. Surely you cannot use a river as a place where you can construct your house. So for those ones, as I always say, it's nature which is teaching them that this place is not suitable for human habitation and they must go where they came from. And if they were fleeced their money by land barons, and if they got those things through corrupt means, they must demand their money from the land barons. They must demand their money from any person who was corrupt in handing over those things. Otherwise, we cannot assist those people who are in wetlands and ask government to regularize their settlement in those wetlands. We know how best we can assist those who are in formal settlements. I think for those ones, they must go where they came from. Not necessarily government injecting any cent. We cannot talk about humanitarian. There are recalcitrant elements, there are wayward elements who must move away from building houses in Jacha River, in Duri River. They must go where they came from.
And perhaps just to follow up, just at the close of last week, we saw government parceling out relief to Malawi. Any update in terms of the reception of that consignment?
Yes,
the other side.
The first batch reached Malawi on today's yesterday. Yesterday. That's when they had the ceremony of receiving that consignment. It's the first one out of the 3 batches that we are sending to Malawi. So in Malawi, we are going to send about 33 times 30 tons for relief from the state and other assorted goods donated by our stakeholders.
Mr. Nkomo, thank you for speaking to ZTN Prime. Well, of course, that was Mr. Nkomo, the Chief Director in the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works, responsible for civil protection here, where it is at Monomtapa building, where a consignment has been handed over to the ambassador of Mozambique to Zimbabwe. This after devastating floods have displaced over 723,000 people and killed at least 120 people in 4 provinces, among them Maputo, Manica, and Gaza, among others. And of course, Zimbabwe stepping to the fore, a demonstration of brotherhood and the maintenance of the SADC spirit. And of course, we'll be giving you updates in terms of just how this consignment moves from Zimbabwe into Mozambique. We just got an update that what was dispatched from Zimbabwe to Malawi on Friday, the first batch arrived on Tuesday, which was yesterday, and 2 more batches, of course, are in the pipeline and expected to reach Malawi to try and bring that degree of relief to the 7 districts that were affected by the floods in Malawi. Of course, we'll be giving you updates in terms of the movement of the consignments to the Republic of Mozambique, as well as what else is happening in Zimbabwe, on the continent and beyond. I'm Ibn Mabunda reporting for ZTN Prime at the Monomtapa building, Zimbabwe's capital, Harare.